Everyone take a nice deep breath, please. So I'd like to welcome you to this time, this sacred space time, and the activation that desires to come forth during this time is around your new currency energy body. And I'm going to take a few moments to get present to receive the wisdom and insight for this activation. But as we are preparing for this experience, I just want you to be in a very neutral space during this time as it relates to what you know about the chakras, and being able to actually step outside of the traditional premise and something that we hear often as it relates to the chakras, especially around the root chakra, that is the base in which your financial container experience is really built and established. And though that is true, but there's more expansiveness to that context of not just that particular chakra, but all of the chakras really hold a financial dimension within them. And so that's something tonight that we will be present with, is being able to move into the new colors and new dimension aspects as it relates to the currency factor within the energy body experience. So within that, even your etheric body, your etheric temple, just the different layers and context around the energy body, certain aspects and elements of those will be leveled up because they relate to the higher expression of the currency energy that is really just your new anatomy. And so as we are being present with even this awareness, I want you to take 3 nice deep breaths, please. Okay. So I'm still taking a few moments just to just be with this experience before rendering, so that I can provide this in accuracy. But I felt the urgency to come forth and share this. And I actually have works around this particular area. But what I'm guided to bring forth during this time will be something that's just really a fresh moment in a fresh process, I should say, in the moment. And so I'm definitely looking forward to being in the receptive mode of what will come through, for that, because it's really time to be in your own unique individuality, and your chakras in this dimension from the currency factor will speak to you individually for what it is that you most need to know and start to move forward with as it relates to really creating this new financial world for yourself, and really the embodiment of holistic currency, because holistic currency is it exceeds far than just the financial aspect. But what I get a sense of that will be coming up tonight is more about the financial aspect, because several of you have really embodied the energy of abundance, prosperity, and profitability, and have really been resourceful and obtained a variety of experiences that have yielded you the abundance on certain levels, but not necessarily the financial level. And this is the season where the financial trajectories are coming into play. And with that being said, and knowing that, with that coming into the greater context of expression, that means that the anatomy has to be awakened in that way, so that this is more of a habitation experience than it is a visitation experience. And so what you'll also maybe get a sense of, because I'm feeling it myself, some of you have been a part of several activations that I have facilitated, and this one could play out a little bit differently, even in pace and how it flows, but it could be a combination. But I won't know until I'm actually just in the flow of being able to render it. But I do get a sense that there could be some different dynamics that could come into play. So just being open with that. So at this moment, I'm going to invite everyone to take a nice deep belly breath, please. So I'm actually being guided to mention that it would be a good idea if you have note-taking material with you. I'm feeling that this experience may play out in some type of a retreat intensive in a mini format. And so it'd be a relaxed experience, but yet intense in a sense, in terms of you having to do some processing and being with the experience, but also participating maybe at a higher level. And that could be that you are having to write down quite a bit that maybe comes through. So I'm going to just take a few moments before allowing the activation to really start to come through, or the context that leads up to it, so that you have the time to grab your note-taking material. But also, if you have water near you or snack, you might want to have that handy, because as we go into these different dimensions, it might just be good to definitely have something that can support you nutritionally during this time. So I'm going to encourage some deep breathing to take place, especially for those who are taking a few moments and going to get your snacks and get your note-taking material. Let's just all just do some deep breathing. Okay, so I'm actually being guided to sort of bring forth a meditation to put you kind of in a meditative state before we actually get into some of the content or context that will come up. There's nothing planned here in terms of me having something laid out for you. When I do these activations, it really is in the present moment, and just allowing myself to be the conduit of a cultivated experience. So this is not channeling energy or anything of that nature. It is really just the power of the present moment, but bringing forth just the organic flow of things that have been in my experience, but being brought to you in a fresh way during this time, but with higher divine guidance and expanded awareness around certain context of the different experiences and the level of wisdom and knowledge to bring forth. So hopefully everyone has their note-taking materials and maybe some water and a snack available. We're going to go ahead and get started. So I can invite everyone right now to, let's take about 7 deep breaths, please. Okay. So let's start off by giving thanks. We're going to meditate on deep appreciation and gratitude for life itself. Take a deep breath, please. What are you grateful for in this moment about your life? Let's meditate on that for a moment. Let's ponder there. Just be present with that. Be present with the energy of gratitude and deep appreciation. Take a deep breath, please. So I'm going to invite you to be in a state of more expanded awareness around appreciation. Whatever you feel most grateful for in this moment, how can you deepen that? How can you expand the context around that? Feel into that. This is so important, especially before we're moving into these newer dimensions and context of the energy body, and as it relates to the currency factor, and especially around the finances. We have so much to be grateful for, so much that we have embodied in terms of what this life has yielded to us in such unique gifts. One of the greater gifts that's coming up in the moment is that you all are sourced to be these abundant expressions and symbols of higher levels of prosperity. And during this season, you are called to be these abundant expressions from the financial aspect. It is time for that. And this is something about you that can no longer be withheld, no longer kept from your experience, but also no longer kept from the experience of those who will benefit greatly from you being financially abundant. And so let's give thanks for that right now. And meditate for a few moments on being grateful for the ability to be financially abundant. You are called to this level. And let's give thanks. And as you're meditating on this, as you are pondering this, think about all the good that you've been prepared to bring forth into this world, because you are sourced to be financially prosperous. You are being energized to be financially prosperous. So give thanks for that. Give thanks for that. And again, let's expand this context around thinking about all the good you will do in this world. How many people will benefit from you being financially abundant? What does that look like? You get a good image of that. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks for not just your needs being met above and beyond, but others. How many families' lives will change because of your financial abundance? How much good will be done in this world in your contribution to humanity because of your financial abundance? Give thanks for that. Give thanks for the contributions, because of not just your generosity, it is just your way of beingness. Let's meditate for a few moments on this very fact. Take a deep breath, please. Now we're going to meditate on your new awareness of this new currency, energy body. Let's just be present with this. This is part of your new anatomy. And what are you already feeling around this? Give thanks. No matter the emotion, whether joyful, whether a little apprehensive, just give thanks for it all. Take a deep breath, please. Now, before we actually move into being more present with the currency factor of your anatomy, the vibration of satisfaction is coming up, and we need to be present with the energy and the vibration of just simply being satisfied and grateful for knowing that all is well and being satisfied with the newness that's emerging. And for some of you who have yet to really step into the fullness of your financial trajectories, you have to be satisfied with the fact that this is your higher calling during this time. That needs to be a very satisfying feeling of you embracing and embodying the true nature of who you are, the hard wiring of your anatomy during this time is to bring forth this new dimension of yourself in the currency energy body, your new financial anatomy, the re-engineering of your truth. Give thanks because you'll be fully activated at the entry level point to open up this new world, a new financial world from within, according to your unique design. Take a deep breath, please. So let's meditate on that for a moment. Take about 3 nice deep breaths, please. Okay. So now I'm just going to be present with the space as we start to really move into the different dimensions of your energy body, and we are going to be in the new colors and new dimension format, going into your chakras, the 7 primary chakras within your anatomy. Take a deep breath, please. So at this time, the guidance is to bring awareness to your etheric temple. And for those of you who are not familiar, you don't have to have any context at this point around the general premise. Just being aware that there is one, your etheric body. And being present with the currency factor of this part of your anatomy. It's very subtle, yet it's very significant. And this is where the truth of your sovereign success comes in. And with that, brings forth this newer context of your financial individuality, but also how that financial individuality is a contribution to the collective financial force, if you will. Take a deep breath, please. So now this is awakening and being ready for the activation that will be underway during this time. Take a deep breath, please. And at the sound of my voice, be present into the currency flow. Feel the rivers of financial abundance just rippling through you. The energy should feel just as natural as just taking a breath, because this is you, it's who you are. It's what's awakening in you right now, already there, just coming forth, emerging from within. You're ready to be in full expression from your interior into your external reality. Take a deep breath, please. Be present with the space. Be present with the rivers of abundance flowing through you from this higher financial vantage point. Do you feel that awakening in you? You feel the emergence of something bubbling up. And for some of you, it will feel like something that's been at the edge for quite some time and now ready to reveal itself. You've been on the edge, on the brink of so much success. You couldn't wrap your mind around it. And now you're here with the awareness that you have a financial anatomy of a new currency energy body that wants to come forth. Imagine that. Where you thought it was all about what you were creating, you may be having to bring forth to create more finances. And here it is that the profitability has always resided within you, now awakened in a higher context of potential far beyond what you could have ever imagined. Take a deep breath, please. And now let's just be present with that. Feel into the frequency of who you are in this true abundant state of financial expression. At the sound of my voice, hear the rhythm and feel the rhythm in the context of the true flow of who you are. That you are healed, you are whole, you are wealthy, and you are healthy, and your financial wellness trajectory is coming underway through this process and experience, awakening you more to the truth of who you are in this season. And this season is all that matters, the now time, the present, where the gift and the power truly is and resides. Opening you up to the infinite possibilities and realms of riches that desire to come forth from within you to be expressed in your external reality. Take a deep breath, please. Just be present with that. Be present with your truth. Be present with the knowingness and the beingness of your new financial state of higher expression. Take a nice deep breath, please. And just be present with that knowing. So at this time, before we actually go into the chakras, and those of you who have your note-taking materials, I want you to take a few moments to write down, just in short form, what this new awareness has meant for you. And just vibrationally, I can feel the excitement, but also some of the tears of others being so happy that they've made it to this point. True breakthroughs and just a miraculous context of feeling like finally being at this new juncture of the journey, ready to move forward and now have your dreams be more expansive than you could have ever imagined. What's coming forth through everyone will be something that you could not ask for just in your natural context of awareness. This is far beyond anything you could ask or imagine. So we're going to take some time to actually go into the chakra system. And as I mentioned on the onset, that a lot of times when others teach about the context around the energy body and the chakras, and primarily focusing on the root chakra as the one where you establish that more expansive container to be able to really hold the experience of what is cultivated in terms of gardening with deep roots, to be anchored so that the expanse of life that is really built upon from the other chakras, that when you're grounded and rooted, the sustainability of that experience will ensure success. But as I mentioned, that we're not going to necessarily get into what those traditional premises are around the chakras. We want to be present in the currency anatomy factor. So we're going to enter into the ruby red riches dimension of the root chakra. And I want you to be present within that space. And most of you will see the color red or kind of a ruby context, maybe even crimson. New colors and new dimensions certainly come up as you are in this new space. And so there's wisdom within these chambers, if you will, about your currency factor, and each one will give you a context for this new currency awakening and to provide certainty and clarity around how you move forward. And I'm sure before the completion of this, there will be the context of how you bring this all together, or some instructions in terms of how you just need to move forward. So I'm going to invite everyone to take a nice deep breath, please. Okay. So focus in on the ruby red riches of your chakra, your root chakra. And let's be present for just a few moments. I feel like this is going to be a very accelerated process. So you won't need to think too much, just whatever comes up. And sometimes that could be a smell, it could be a sense, it could be one word or a feeling. And then write that down. So take a deep breath and go into that space right now. All right, just going to give a few moments. You can write down whatever else comes up. And before we move into the sacral chakra, the currency chamber, I'm going to invite everyone to take a sip of water or a few sips of water. I always have to keep in mind when going into the deeper context of the dimensions, hydration is very important, even if it's just a few sips, here and there. All right, take a deep breath, please. And so now we're going to enter into the co-creative currency realm of your sacral chakra. New colors and new dimension format. You may see several shades of orange, and other colors may come up as well. Often companion chakra energy comes in to support. So the expression of a coin is coming up. So a coin of high value. You can see that in the color orange. It may have a little golden context to it. Be present with that vibration of currency. There's something about the creative expression within that format. And what is that realm or context of your sacral chakra? What is it speaking to you about this new currency experience for you? The power to create wealth, to co-create wealth at a higher level. And what does that look and feel like? Take a deep breath, please. So whatever that initial wisdom or insight that came up, jot that down. So the guidance is to stay here a little bit longer and immerse. So that means there might be some intensity that comes here because there's other context around this. So that means that we're going into another dimension within another dimension here. So now I'm going to invite you to suspend the coin format that you were asked to focus on initially. So what's interesting, a gold block is what's coming up. It's in a burnt orange, gold text color, so to speak. So even if you can't see that in your mind's eye or imagine your chakra in that way, just be present with the awareness and let's see what wants to awaken here. So be present with that. You can ask for the wisdom. You can ask your sacral chakra in this dimension. What is the wisdom? What is the context around this in terms of your co-creative, co-creation power? As it relates to your financial wealth factor. Take a deep breath, please. So again, it could be a word or a phrase that comes up. Now there's the calling forth to actually go into another dimension. So give me a moment. I'm going to be present here for the new foundation, a new formation for this context. Okay, so something around a new money world. So at this point, I'm going to invite you to focus in on a globe, in a sense, or earth. And you can see that in a financial context. So you may be seeing a money world. And remember how God created the earth. And in 7 days, or 6, but rested on the 7th day, there was a creative process around bringing in this newer expansion for humanity. And so how you actually put that into context for yourself is that there's a creative force that wants to come through you within sort of a 7-day process or a 6-day process. And then on the 7th day, you are being with that process and being in awe of it. So there's wisdom here within this dimension of the sacral chakra that is speaking to you about your currency factor, this creative process of creating your new financial world in that order of the 7-day creation process. That you'll be speaking each day or creating each day on the guided context that's being presented. And up into that 6th day, you're going to cultivate it. And that 7th day, you're going to rest and just be in awe because you have done the work that would have needed to be done. And then thereafter, you'll start to see the accelerated fruits and harvests that spring forth in this new world creation for you according to your unique financial individuality. Take a deep breath, please. And so even if no wisdom is coming up for you right now around how you get started with that particular process, let's just be with it, because it will be something that, apart from this experience, that you will have time to flesh that out even more. It may be that during this time, it's just for you to ground the awareness of that's what's coming up. Take a deep breath, please. Okay. So now we're going to move into the solar plexus. And so now what's coming forth is the higher source energy. This is a very bright feeling context. This is about illumination of your higher currency core, meaning there's something that you need to first anchor before we can move more into the upper tier of the core chakras, then coming into the context of the baseline of the ascension chakras. And I'll share a little bit more about that as we progress. But there's something here that needs to be illuminated from a higher source perspective. So basically it is source, it is God shining the light on something you most need to know right now before we can move forward. So what is it about finances and the grander currency context that you need to know right now? What needs to be illuminated so that when you return to your creative process of what's been grounded in the root chakra, the ruby red riches energy, and then also the different dimensions and contexts that came out in the sacral chambers. So what needs to be illuminated right now from the higher currency factor, from this higher source definition and perspective, shining bright as the sun during this time, bringing illumination and sourcing what has already been revealed to you. Some of you will start to feel some high energy right now. And if you feel yourself get a little sway or kind of nervous in a sense, then make sure that you drink some water and, take a bite of your snack or so. Because you are really reorienting your internal landscape right now of activating this new currency energy body that's alivening you at this point, because it's alivening your finances. That's that very true nature of who you are that's coming through. So some of you might feel that electrifying energy. You may feel yourself being alive and really feeling sourced right now and not understanding actually what is happening. And then some of you may not even be experiencing anything, but just taking it in. And it's fine, because everyone is being activated at different levels. But we're bringing this forth now so that when we actually ground the fullness of the activation, the embodiment will be there. And that is required in order for you to play out in this fuller expression. Take a deep breath, please. So I want you to write down what is being illuminated or what has been illuminated at this point. Just take a few moments, just shorthand, because you can always come back to this process and flesh it out even more. And so now we're going to move into the currency chamber of the heart chakra. And this is where the green grass of abundance, I should say, it's fields of possibilities. For some of you, it would be your metals of millions. Getting to the heart and truth of your financial greatness. And this is something that a lot of you are simply going to have to face. You're going to have to face your financial greatness and be ready to play this out on levels that are unimaginable. Because it is here that you are really getting a good sense of why you were created to bring forth the fullness of this financial expression, why the awakening of your new financial anatomy and trajectory is coming forth. Why you? Why were you born and sourced to bring this expression? So let's be with the premise of that during this time. What is the currency factor of your heart chakra speaking to you about why you are sourced to have this massive financial abundance trajectory come forth through you? Lusciousness of the experience. Take a deep breath, please. And just be with that. What is the heartbeat of your financial expression? Why is it so important that you be financially abundant during this season? Doesn't matter whether you haven't been in any other season, you were born to bring this forth now. So let's be present with that nowness, the nowness of knowing that, and knowing enough of why it is important for you to have the knowledge around it without wrapping your head around it too much. Just be present with the wisdom that comes forth and just write it down. Take a deep breath, please. So now that we've been in the heart currency chamber, the heart chakra currency chamber, and you realizing that you do have to face your financial greatness, this now shifts us into the higher expression within your throat chakra. This is where your anatomy, your financial anatomy is communicating. It is speaking. And what I mean by speaking, it's what's going to be expressed in your way of beingness, your financial way of beingness, your currency way of beingness in your external reality that is visible and tangible for others, for you first, but for others. An economic instrument of change. What is that melody like? What is that instrument playing? What are you hearing from yourself right now? Take a deep breath. So what is that currency communication that wants to come forth in expression? And for those of you who actually have maybe over the last few months for sure have had some challenges throat-wise, or just even your throat chakra feeling off or imbalanced, now you know why. That's because you're here to really bring that higher form of demonstration for a new financial functionality, a new order of operation in terms of financial well-being. That's the currency connection at this time. But I'm going to invite you to be present with any wisdom and insights that desire to come forth from your throat chakra in this currency realm of communication. Take a deep breath, please. And just be present. You write down the wisdom. And so now we're going to move into the brow chakra, also known as the third eye. This is your higher intuitive money space, your spiritual alignment with your ultimate money path. This realm and dimension of the chakra invites you to enter into this higher phase and state of a new financial trajectory. It's a new financial vision and a core mission that will come up. So be present with that. What is this new financial vision and mission? And it could be a vision statement, a mission statement that comes up during this time around your currency factor. What are you knowing about this new financial world and trajectory? What are you intuitively knowing and getting a sense of that you now have a visionary context around it from a higher third eye perspective? This would be equivalent to really the epitome of having that bird's eye or eagle eye view, meaning you can not see this experience just straight on, heads on. You are ascended and you can see different levels and dimensions, different vantage points for how your new financial success can come into fruition. It's higher innovation. And just that knowingness. Take a nice deep breath, please. So I'm going to invite you to write down 3 different contexts of awareness. So that can be what comes up to you just initially in thought, how you felt about the knowingness of this, and then your excitement about the potential and what this means. And this will be part of your new visioning or vision statement, so to speak, mission statement. Take a deep breath, please. Give just a few more moments. Again, be sure to sip your water and eat your snacks. Take a deep breath. Now we're going to move into the crown chakra and the crown currency chamber and what it means for your sovereignty in financial success. So as we're being present with that chakra, allow your third eye to still communicate to you about how to best receive the wisdom and insight that will come forth from the crown chakra. And then we're going to bring it all together. Take a deep breath, please. And so as you're receiving that revelation, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to be present in this higher context of the currency connection as it relates to your crown chakra. And I want you to be present of thinking about what does it mean to be sovereignly successful financially? What does that mean for you? What does that look like? Take a deep breath, please. And this is the part where you will really awaken to that higher divine truth for your finances at this phase. The higher level of source creating to you and creating through you. This is where you become the higher conduit for innovative cash flow. So let's sit in that space so that you can be in the receptive mode of receiving that higher creation template grounded in your sacral chakra, in those dimensions, and sort of piping itself up here. Understanding that sovereignty. And I will say to those of you who have been under a lot of financial pressure and maybe had some blocks or so, this right here clears out those realms, those previous realms, and those who maybe have been in your world, who've had financial strongholds over you, no more. Not being in this energy. That's part of your new financial world, your new financial anatomy. That is part of the sovereignty of being in your higher seat and place of divine power as it relates to your financial trajectory. And no longer will you be able to be bound by anything or anyone that's set on your financial greatness. Take a deep breath, please. Now, even though the color within the crown chakra is normally the purple. But it's interesting as coming up, sometimes the colors become irrelevant. Just like in the throat chamber, there was not really a call to focus in on the color, but on the higher source communication factor. And even coming into the third eye, there was not the focus on the color. Feeling the same way in a sense around the crown, but at this moment, because the colors may be entering into the minds and awareness of others, that there's something about whatever color or colors are coming up that will speak to your multidimensional factor of wealth creation. So be present with those colors and write those colors down, because at another point, you'll be able to have more context and clarity around how the other chakras and their colors and new dimensions support this higher level of sovereignty. Take a deep breath, please. Okay. So the template is feeling complete enough at this moment to ground and anchor this activation. So just be present with the space here as I am present with you, and also any final context to the delivery of this that maybe needs to come forth. But if not, I'll just be ready to receive the guidance of how to best ground and anchor this experience. Take a deep breath, please. Okay. So awakening and now activating this new currency energy body. Everything from this process and the leveling up and awakening and extracting through the etheric temple and etheric body and all other relevant energy body areas to benefit greatly from this experience, bringing forth the new colors and the new dimensions and activating all chakras at this higher dimension, higher level context to play out an extreme financial expression, extreme financial expression. Take a deep breath, please. Gathering all wisdom and insights, all the information from each dimension of every chakra, and the context and higher intent around this process. Everyone take a deep breath. And now we activate this in the highest level of truth. The source's definition and perspective, the co-creative higher power and sovereign essence expression. Take a deep breath, please. And now your new anatomy format in this new currency energy body is awakened and activated for this phase. And aligning you with your highest paths of truth. Your spiritual money path, your higher currency expression, Take a deep breath, please. And we are complete. Thank you. And before we conclude this experience, I want you to take a few moments to write down what this overall process has meant for you. And what are you most grateful for about this experience? And what do you now know? What are you most aware of and awakened to? Now having gone through this experience. And write down one of your biggest takeaways or ahas. Take a deep breath, please. Okay. So at this moment, how do you feel? How do you feel? And I want you to write that down. Take about 3 deep breaths, please. And before you go into a different state of awareness around this, now that this process is complete, your next steps are to be present with this process. Go back over this process and flesh it out a couple of times and see what other insights come up for you. And then start to allow yourself to receive the plan of a first phase for the manifestations. This expression of the new anatomy in this new currency energy body. You're going to be amazed how accelerated things take place and the level of financial abundance that you are here to bring forth. It's unimaginable. Take a deep breath. So take time out to create that next level game plan, if you will, next level financial game plan. Be easy with it and just allow the trajectory itself in this new financial world expression to really communicate to you the best ways to support yourself and others during this time with this newness of a context that you will be bringing forth. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to facilitate this, and my very hope is for you to get the maximum benefits of this experience. And just remember, this has been the time for you to face your financial greatness. You can't get away from the truth of who you are. This symbol of source's higher potential expressed through a human experience, and that's you. So again, I just want to say thank you. And may you benefit continuously from this process. Take a deep breath. And we are now complete. Thank you.